Wealth begins long before a single dollar is earned. It begins in the mind, in the thoughts that are allowed to take root, and in the beliefs that are repeated daily. The truth is simple but often overlooked. Financial reality is a reflection of inner belief. To attract money, the first transformation must occur internally. It is not about chasing money. It's about becoming the kind of person to whom money naturally flows. When the mind is shaped by lack, worry, and scarcity, money remains elusive. But when the mind is aligned with abundance, money responds with surprising speed and generosity. Most people carry unconscious beliefs about money that were formed in childhood or inherited from generations that feared not having enough. They believe money is hard to get, that it only comes to certain people, or that desiring wealth is somehow wrong. These beliefs don't just shape behavior, they shape reality. The mind seeks evidence of what it believes. If it believes money is scarce, it will find scarcity. If it believes wealth is abundant, it will find opportunity. The key is to understand that money is not just a physical object, it is an idea, a vibration, a reflection of thought. Shifting the mindset begins with awareness. Every time a thought about money arises, whether it's fear, guilt, envy, or hope, it must be examined. Is this thought creating expansion or contraction? Is it rooted in possibility or limitation? The mind cannot serve two masters. It cannot dwell on lack and expect abundance to appear. To attract money, the dominant mindset must be one of abundance, worthiness, and openness. This is not a call to pretend or to delude oneself, but rather to consciously direct the focus toward what is possible rather than what is missing. Abundance is not a result, it is a state of being. It is cultivated through language, attention, and imagination. Begin to notice the language used around money. Words like "I can't afford that" or "money never lasts" are seeds of scarcity. Replace them with words that carry power. "I'm creating space for wealth," "opportunities are always around me," or "I am aligned with financial flow." Speak as someone who is already in harmony with wealth. Language is not merely expression, it is creation. Imagination also plays a critical role. The mind cannot move toward what it cannot see. Picture the life of financial freedom, feel it with intensity. Not just the numbers, but the emotions, peace, expansion, confidence. This emotional vision plants the subconscious with the energy it needs to seek out and create circumstances aligned with wealth. When the mind becomes familiar with abundance, it no longer resists it, instead it invites it. Ultimately, the mindset of wealth is a choice made repeatedly, day by day, thought by thought. It is a mental environment where prosperity is expected, not doubted, welcomed, not chased. Money is not drawn to fear or desperation. It is drawn to clarity, purpose, and inner certainty. Cultivating a wealth mindset is the foundation of all external success, because without it, even money that comes will eventually disappear. But with it, even the smallest opportunity can become the seed of a fortune. To attract money, the beliefs that silently limit financial growth must be brought into the light and eliminated. These limiting beliefs are not always obvious. They may sound reasonable, even responsible, but beneath the surface, they carry messages of fear, unworthiness, and rejection of wealth. They whisper thoughts like, "I'm not good with money, I don't deserve to be rich, or if I have more, others will have less." These beliefs act like invisible fences, keeping prosperity just out of reach no matter how hard one works. The first step to eliminating these beliefs is to become aware of them. Listen closely to the thoughts that arise when money is discussed, when bills arrive, or when someone else succeeds financially. Is there tension? Is there judgment? Is there discomfort? These reactions are not random. They are signals of what the mind truly believes about money, and what the mind believes, it creates. Limiting beliefs often come from early life experiences, seeing parents struggle, hearing negative statements about rich people, or experiencing financial hardship. But those beliefs were formed in a context that may no longer exist. The truth is, beliefs are not permanent. They are patterns, and patterns can be changed. Question every belief that doesn't empower. Ask, is this really true? Is this belief helping me attract the life I want? Who gave me this belief, and do I still want to carry it? One of the most powerful ways to dismantle a limiting belief is to replace it with a new one that opens the door to abundance. If the old thought says, "I'll never be wealthy," the new belief becomes, "Wealth is available to me in many ways." If the old belief says, "I have to work endlessly to earn money," the new one says, "Money comes to me through ease, creativity, and aligned action." The mind is like a garden. Pull out the weeds of doubt and plant seeds of possibility. It's not enough to say affirmations without conviction. The new beliefs must be felt. They must be chosen again and again till they become the default. Repetition creates familiarity, and familiarity becomes truth. Surrounding oneself with messages of abundance, books, conversations, environments, helps reinforce the new mental foundation. The more the mind sees evidence of what is possible, the more it lets go of the belief that wealth is out of reach. Removing limiting beliefs is not about fantasy. It is about reclaiming power over one's inner world. Every belief held about money either invites it in or pushes it away. There is no neutral ground. The process of letting go is not always comfortable, but it is necessary. Because the truth is, money is not avoiding anyone. It is simply responding to the story being told. Change the story, and the flow of money will change with it. Money is not attracted by need, it is attracted by value. The foundation of wealth lies in understanding the law of value. Money is not a reward for time spent or effort exerted. It is an exchange for value provided. The more value that is created, the more money flows in return. This shift in thinking is essential. It moves the focus from chasing money to becoming someone whose presence, skills, ideas, and contributions are inherently valuable. Value is not determined by hours worked, but by the impact made. A single idea that solves a major problem can be worth more than years of hard labor. Those who attract money consistently are those who understand how to serve, solve, elevate, or simplify something for others. When people are helped, when lives are improved, when problems are eliminated, money becomes a natural consequence. It stops being a pursuit and starts being a reflection. To increase financial flow, the question is never, how can I make more money? The real question is, how can I create more value for others? It's not about doing more, it's about doing what matters. It's about discovering unique strengths, mastering them, and using them to elevate others. Whether it's through a product, a service, an idea, or a solution, value is the magnet that pulls money closer. This law also removes the illusion that money is limited. There is no cap on how much value can be created. Creativity, innovation, kindness, leadership, expertise, these are infinite in supply. Those who understand this law stop competing and start creating. They stop measuring their worth by what others earn and begin focusing on becoming irreplaceable in the way they contribute. Value also requires awareness. It's about observing what people need, what they struggle with, what they wish was easier. Every problem is a hidden invitation to create wealth. Those who develop a habit of asking, "How can I help?" instead of "What can I get?" inevitably position themselves for financial growth. Because in every act of service, there is the seed of compensation. This is the principle that transforms struggle into flow. No more waiting for opportunities, create them. No more hoping for a raise, become the reason for one. No more wondering why others succeed. Study what value they bring. Then go higher, go deeper, do more with purpose. Money is not about being busy, it's about being useful. The more useful, the more valued. The more valued, the more rewarded. And the beautiful truth is this: anyone, regardless of background, education, or circumstance, can create value. It's not reserved for the elite. It belongs to the intentional. Once this truth is owned, money stops being distant. It begins to move in rhythm with the value that's delivered to the world. Attracting money requires more than just action. It requires alignment. Alignment with abundance means becoming a match for the very energy and frequency of wealth. It is not something to be chased or forced. It is something to be allowed, something to be welcomed through internal harmony. When the thoughts, emotions, and expectations are aligned with prosperity, money flows as a natural extension of that inner state. Without alignment, even hard work leads to resistance. With alignment, even small efforts yield powerful results. Abundance is not something outside to be found. It is something inside to be unlocked. It begins with awareness of the stories being told within. If the inner dialogue is filled with worry, lack, or doubt, then abundance cannot take root. But when the inner space is filled with gratitude, expectation, and openness, abundance has no choice but to respond. This is not wishful thinking. It is energetic truth. Everything is energy, and money is no exception. It flows to what feels expansive and free, not to what feels tense and constricted. Gratitude is one of the most potent tools for alignment. Gratitude for what already exists, no matter how small, opens the mind to receive more. It shifts the focus from what is missing to what is present, and what is appreciated expands. When the habit of gratitude becomes consistent, the energy field becomes magnetic. Money is not just drawn to need, it is drawn to appreciation, because appreciation reflects wholeness. Expectancy is also key. Not hoping, not wishing, but knowing. There must be a deep and calm certainty that money is on its way, not from a place of pressure, but from a place of alignment. This means walking through each day with a quiet confidence, not because everything is perfect, but because the internal state is already in harmony with the future that is being created. That internal knowing becomes a signal, and the outer world rearranges itself to match it. Language plays a role as well. Words carry energy, and that energy either aligns with abundance or pushes it away. Saying things like, "I'm broke, money never lasts," or "I can't afford that," reinforces scarcity. But phrases like "money flows easily," "opportunities are everywhere," and "I'm open to receive" create space for wealth to enter. These are not empty affirmations, they are energetic declarations. And when repeated with belief and feeling, they shift the internal landscape. Alignment is also about removing resistance. Doubt, fear, guilt, or the need to control outcomes create energetic blocks. These must be gently released. Releasing control is not the same as giving up. It is trusting that the vision is already in motion. It is understanding that abundance does not need to be forced. It simply needs to be allowed. To align with abundance is to live from a state of inner sufficiency. It is choosing to feel abundant before the evidence appears. And paradoxically, it is this feeling that causes the evidence to arrive. Money follows alignment. It flows where there is trust, where there is peace, where there is expansion. When alignment becomes a way of being, attraction becomes effortless. Money is energy, and like all forms of energy, it responds to frequency. Every thought, every feeling, every belief emits a frequency, and that frequency either attracts or repels wealth. To attract money consistently, one must learn to operate at the energetic level where abundance lives. This is not a metaphor. It is a truth rooted in both spiritual and psychological principles, like attracts like. When the frequency is low, filled with fear, scarcity, anxiety, or desperation, money stays away. When the frequency is high, filled with calm, certainty, joy, and confidence, money is naturally drawn in. People often try to change their outer world while ignoring their inner state. They try to force wealth into existence through hustle, control, or panic. But money does not respond to panic. It responds to certainty. Just as a magnet doesn't chase metal, but pulls it effortlessly with the right charge, so does a high-frequency mindset draw money closer without strain. This is why some people seem to attract opportunities, connections, and income with ease. They are not doing more, they are vibrating at a higher level. The frequency of wealth is calm, clear, and unapologetic. It doesn't beg, it doesn't fear, and it doesn't rush. It trusts. And trust is a frequency. When someone believes that money is on its way, that belief itself carries a power. That inner trust becomes visible in posture, in tone, in decisions. It signals to life that the person is ready. And when readiness meets the right frequency, money appears, not as a miracle, but as a response. To raise frequency, one must monitor emotion and attention. The question is not, how much money do I have, but what frequency am I living in? Pay attention to how the body feels when thinking about money. Is there tension in the chest? Is there fear in the gut? These sensations are clues. They show where alignment is missing. The work is not to ignore the fear, but to gently move toward a state that feels better, a state of relief, a state of neutrality, and eventually a state of joy. Emotion is fuel. High-frequency emotions, Gratitude, love, inspiration, enthusiasm. Lift the field of energy to the level where money becomes a natural visitor. These emotions can be cultivated. They are not accidents. They come from focus, from choosing what to dwell on, from deciding to place attention on what is working, what is possible, and what is expanding. The more time spent in those states, the stronger the frequency becomes, and the stronger the frequency, the more magnetic the presence. Wealth is not something to force. It is something to tune into. It is a vibration that exists here and now, waiting to be matched. And the moment the internal frequency aligns with that vibration, everything changes. Ideas flow, people appear, synchronicities unfold, and money begins to move. Not as a chase, but as a dance between inner alignment and outer manifestation. Because the truth is simple, you do not get what you want, you get what you are. And what you are is the frequency you carry. Raise it, and money will follow. The power of intention is one of the most overlooked forces in attracting money. Intention is more than a wish or a vague desire. It is a focused, deliberate decision about what one is creating. It is the difference between drifting aimlessly and moving with clarity. When intention is clear, energy becomes focused. Action becomes purposeful. The mind stops wandering, and results begin to form. Intention gives money a direction to follow. Without it, even the most talented individuals can remain financially stuck. Setting a powerful intention means deciding, with full emotional presence, exactly what kind of financial reality is being created. Not in broad, uncertain terms like I want to be rich or I need more money, but in clear, definite statements like I am creating a consistent income of $10,000 per month through meaningful work, or I am building financial independence with grace and ease. The more specific and emotionally resonant the intention, the more energy it carries. Vague intentions produce vague results. Clarity is the signal that activates momentum. Intention also carries responsibility. Once a true intention is set, everything must align with it. Thoughts, habits, beliefs, and actions. One cannot set an intention to attract money while simultaneously entertaining thoughts of unworthiness or fear. The inner world must be unified. Intention is not just about saying what is desired. It's about becoming the person who lives in alignment with that desire. That means acting, thinking, and choosing from the version of self who already lives in that reality. Emotion is what fuels intention. A dry statement of a goal carries little power, but when that statement is filled with purpose, passion, and conviction, it becomes magnetic. It starts pulling people, ideas, and opportunities into place. This is why visualization works. Not because it changes the outside world directly, but because it strengthens the emotional bond with the intention. When a vision feels real enough, the subconscious mind begins to believe it, and the body begins to move in ways that support it. Intentions are not passive. They are living declarations. Once an intention is set, attention must be guarded. Doubt will try to enter. Distraction will try to seduce. But a strong intention stays focused. It remembers why it was created. It holds the vision even when circumstances haven't yet caught up. That unwavering focus is what builds energetic momentum. And momentum is what turns intention into reality. It's not about wishing or waiting. It's about deciding. Deciding that the financial future will be different, not by chance, but by design. And once that decision is made, fully, deeply, and without apology, the universe begins to rearrange itself in response. Because money does not respond to confusion, it responds to clarity. When the intention is pure, focused, and aligned, money begins to flow, not as a reaction, but as a reflection of the inner command that has already been made. Intention sets the direction, but it is action that builds the bridge between desire and manifestation. No matter how strong the vision or how elevated the mindset, money responds to movement. Not just any movement, but aligned action. Action that is guided by clarity, driven by purpose, and grounded in belief. Aligned action does not come from panic or pressure. It comes from alignment with the outcome already claimed. It is rooted in the understanding that the work being done is not to earn worth, but to express it. Too often, people confuse being busy with being productive. They chase tasks, burn out in constant motion, and wonder why wealth remains distant. The truth is, not all action leads to results. Only aligned action does. Aligned action is intentional. It's the kind of action that feels purposeful, that carries the energy of expansion rather than exhaustion. It often comes with a sense of flow, creativity, and quiet confidence. It is not always grand or dramatic. Sometimes it's the small, consistent steps that build massive momentum over time. Aligned action begins with listening. It requires stillness and trust. It asks, what is the next right step? Not from fear, but from faith. That step might be sending the message, making the offer, learning the skill, investing in the idea, or simply showing up differently. Each time aligned action is taken, it signals readiness to receive. It says, I am not waiting to become, I already becoming. And in that becoming, money begins to respond. Discipline is a sacred part of this process. Not the harsh discipline of force, but the refined discipline of commitment. Commitment to the vision. Commitment to the process. Commitment to continuing, even when immediate results are not visible. Wealth rarely shows up all at once. It comes through compound effort, each aligned decision stacking upon the last. Those who consistently act from a place of clarity and trust inevitably rise above the noise. They create results not because they work harder, but because they work from alignment. There will be moments of doubt. There will be resistance. But resistance is not a stop sign. It is a signal. It means the old identity is being challenged. The comfort zone is being stretched. Aligned action moves through resistance with grace. It acknowledges the fear but chooses the path anyway. Because wealth is not just about making money. It's about growing into the version of self who can hold it, multiply it, and use it with purpose. Ultimately, aligned action is not about chasing money. It's about walking in integrity with the vision of abundance already claimed. It's about becoming the living embodiment of the financial life desired. Each step taken from that place holds power, and that power builds, it compounds, it becomes visible. Money follows that power. It is drawn to clarity, to courage, to consistency. And when aligned action becomes a way of life, wealth stops being a dream and starts becoming a natural result. Receiving is an art, and like any art, it must be practiced and mastered. Many people are excellent at working, planning, even visualizing, but when it comes time to receive, they unconsciously block the very abundance they've been seeking. This happens not because they don't want money, but because deep down they don't feel fully open to it. They haven't yet become the kind of person who truly allows wealth to enter, stay, and multiply. To receive is not a passive act, it's an active alignment with worthiness. The ability to receive begins with permission, permission to have, permission to expand, permission to experience more without guilt, apology, or fear of judgment. So many people have internalized the idea that asking for more, having more, or even enjoying more is somehow wrong. That belief creates a ceiling, an invisible wall that wealth cannot pass. It's not the lack of opportunity or effort that holds them back. It's the refusal, often unconscious, to fully receive what they're already capable of attracting. Receiving requires worthiness, not the kind of worth that is earned through suffering or perfection, but the kind of worth that is intrinsic, unchanging, absolute, and already present. When someone truly believes they are worthy of wealth, they stop pushing it away with guilt or shame. They stop sabotaging opportunities. They stop making themselves smaller so others will feel comfortable. Worthiness is not arrogance. It's the quiet acceptance that says, yes, I am enough. Yes, I am allowed. True receivers also understand that abundance can come in many forms. Money, yes, but also ideas, support, love, visibility, and expansion. They do not judge the form. They stay open. They say yes to help, yes to compliments, yes to opportunities that stretch them. Because every yes is a signal. It tells life, I am ready to hold more, and the more one can hold, the more can flow in. Resistance to receiving often hides in the body. It shows up as tension when it's time to ask for payment, discomfort when wealth increases, or self-sabotage when success begins to grow. The key is to notice those moments, to pause, to breathe, to ask, where am I saying no to something I've asked for? and then to consciously soften, to consciously allow, because allowing is where receiving begins. Receiving is also about holding, not clinging, but holding with intention, being a good steward of what has come in, treating money with respect, not fear, with joy, not anxiety. When money is received with gratitude and managed with love, it grows, because what is honored expands, and what is resented repels. To receive is to be fully open, not waiting, not wishing, but welcoming. Standing in a space of inner sufficiency and letting abundance arrive without apology. This is where transformation happens. When the gates of receiving are unlocked, all the visualization, all the intention, all the action begins to converge. The flow begins, and it continues, not because the world changes, but because the self finally does. Sustaining and growing wealth requires more than attracting it. It demands an abundant identity. Money will always match who you are being, not just what you are doing. If someone earns money while still holding on to an identity rooted in lack, fear, or scarcity, that money will eventually disappear, because the inner self will always pull the outer world into alignment. That is why building an abundant identity is not optional, it is essential. Without it, even great financial success is temporary. With it, wealth becomes inevitable. An abundant identity is a deep-rooted belief that prosperity is natural, that wealth is safe, and that financial growth is a reflection of who you already are. It is not tied to numbers in a bank account. It is tied to how you see yourself, how you carry yourself, and what you believe you are capable of creating. It is the difference between someone who stumbles upon success and someone who sustains it with grace and confidence. To build this identity, you must begin to embody abundance before the evidence appears. It means speaking, acting, and choosing as the person who already lives in financial expansion. Not pretending, not faking, but stepping into the mindset of the future self now. That means letting go of language rooted in limitation, letting go of behaviors driven by fear, and replacing them with habits, thoughts, and decisions that reflect confidence, clarity, and value. Identity is shaped by repetition. Every thought repeated becomes a belief. Every belief expressed becomes a behavior. Every behavior reinforced becomes character, and character defines destiny. So the work is not just to think abundantly once, it is to do it every day, until it becomes the default setting of the mind. This takes intention, it takes awareness, but it also takes courage. Because the world is full of scarcity-based narratives, and to build an abundant identity, you must be willing to live above them. This identity does not shrink when things get hard. It does not panic when money fluctuates. It understands that abundance is a state, not a circumstance. That financial dips are not personal failures, but invitations to expand even more. This mindset creates resilience, and resilience is wealth, because the truly abundant do not fear loss. They trust in their ability to create again and again. That trust is the real asset. An abundant identity also attracts better opportunities. It makes better decisions. It sets stronger boundaries. It doesn't settle for less, and it doesn't apologize for wanting more. It gives freely, because it knows there's always more. It receives fully, because it believes it's worthy. This kind of identity isn't just attractive, it's magnetic. It pulls wealth not only in money, but in all its forms: freedom, time, joy, and legacy. To attract and keep money, you must first become the version of yourself who can handle it, honor it, and multiply it. That version already exists within you, and as you embody it more and more, abundance becomes not just a possibility, it becomes a reflection of who you truly are. Wealth does not grow in a vacuum. It grows through conscious relationships, value creation, and energetic exchange. Money flows through people, through networks, through connection. It responds to how well one understands and serves the needs of others. This is why creating value is the most consistent and sustainable way to attract and expand wealth. When you solve problems, when you ease burdens, when you enhance lives, money becomes the natural byproduct of your presence and contribution. Value creation begins with awareness. The question is not, how can I get more money? But how can I serve more deeply? How can I bring more impact, more clarity, more ease into the lives of others? When that becomes the focus, Money stops being a source of stress and starts becoming a reflection of service. Wealth is not taken, it is earned through resonance. It is exchanged in gratitude, not guilt. And those who understand this truth never have to chase money, they only have to create more value. Every person has value to offer. Skills, insights, talents, perspectives. These are all forms of capital. But many underestimate what they hold. They believe they must wait until they are an expert or until they have more credentials or validation. That belief holds them back from offering what is already within them. The truth is, value is not about perfection, it's about usefulness. If what you have can help someone, you are already valuable. The more you own that, the more confidently you can offer, and the more wealth you will attract. Money flows where energy flows, and energy flows toward confidence, generosity, and clarity. When you show up with the intention to give, not to prove, not to impress, but to give, the exchange becomes clean and powerful. It creates trust, and trust is the foundation of all sustainable wealth. People pay for clarity, for solutions, for experiences that elevate their lives. If you can become a source of those things, you will never lack abundance. Another key element in value creation is consistency. It is not enough to give once or when it feels easy. The most successful and abundant people make value a way of being. They look for ways to elevate every space they enter. They give without expectation, knowing that the energy will always return. This mindset turns ordinary people into powerful creators of wealth, not because of luck, but because of alignment with the flow of giving and receiving. Lastly, understand that the marketplace rewards courage. It rewards those who are willing to show up, to speak, to share, to build, to risk. Value that is hidden cannot be compensated. You must be visible. You must be willing to let others see the value you carry, not with arrogance, but with ownership. When you claim your space, when you lead with service, when you refine what you offer and deliver it with heart, money flows as a response, not forced, not begged, but invited through value.